G'day and welcome to part 15 of our little Sigma makeover. There's a bit to cover in this. The first thing I suppose that's most significant is Jason Borg. Now Jason Borg is the son of the original owner of this car. His father had it, I'm reading off an idiot sheet here, his father had it for 26 years. So he would have bought it 93-ish, I would imagine, and had it for 26 years, so a hell of an innings. And he bought it from a lady who was a one owner, well looked after car. Now, he had a big accident 20 years ago and had the front end written off, which is why we're finding all that tiger yellow stuff off a second-hand car. The nature of it was the insurance company didn't want to do it, and they sort of persuaded them to do it. He sort of haggled with them, I suppose, to get it done. And I'm glad he did, because I got the car. It was sold, I think, July, August last year to the guy I bought it from, and he made a killing out of me. I paid far too much for it on reflection, but fairly well rust-free GH Sigmas are very, very rare. You just never see them, so I was prepared to pay it, and I'll hang on to it, so I'll get my enjoyment out of it. I knew he was making a lot of money out of me, but that's business, isn't it? So they were actually appalled at the condition it was in. The driver's door, around the door lock where that primer was, that sort of thing. And I think the fact that he'd taken the side mouldings off and he'd taken paint off with it, that didn't really bother me that much, because I would have left it, but to get that paint matched for the front guards where the rust repairs was is no biggie. Jason's father did do the rust repair in the front, and he did a lot of his own sort of bits and pieces like that. But he owned the car for a long, long time. So he got the front end was written off, and that was someone going through a red light. They actually wiped the front of it off. And he had a left-hand rear collision 10 years ago, and there was just minor damage, I think. And somebody picked that when I did the first video. They picked that it had been hit in the back. That being said, though, it's so negligible. I've had a look at it, and it's so negligible. They did a very, very good job. It's been hit a few times. He said 6 times it's been hit, minor stuff, which is going to happen as well. So he sent me the details of, he sent me one photograph, that's all he found, and he sent me the details of its prior registration number, all this sort of stuff, and it all checked out beautifully. So Jason, thanks very much for getting in touch with me. I really, really enjoyed that. I sent him a copy of the work that I've done, and he was a bit, I think he was, you mad, you know, he didn't say that, but you know, the work I'm doing is probably a bit over the top, but what do you do? Daylight saving time finishes 7th of April, which is 3 weeks from now. So I have to have all the paint done by then, right? Because I won't have time after work to come home and do it. On the weekends, I'm quite busy, and I just get little bits of time to do stuff like that. And the upcoming Easter holidays, which is in about 3 or 4 weeks or something, I want to get the XC started, and I want to have the boot done. I need to get the boot lid done so that come springtime, I can get the guards done. That's all I'm interested in doing, just the front guards, and the car's whole, and it's all good. Jason's about to start on the door trims for that car too. What else are there? What else is there, sorry? There are a few parts of order which haven't come yet. I needed a new pair of riggers. I actually went into Costless to buy bolts for the engine stand. I'm going to put the engine up on the stand. Look, the best thing to do with it is to start taking bits off, because I'm going to find stuff. And that's the other reason I don't want to take any bits off it, because I don't want to find anything. And an old engine with 200 and something thousand Ks is going to have problems. I know it, you know it, we all know it, and we also all know that it's the wrong thing to do to just stick it straight in without touching it. But I'm moved to do that. That's all I want to do, because I do want to get hold of another engine to rebuild it, to turbocharge and that sort of thing. The 2.6 wide block I found wasn't any good, which I went into last video. So I'm after either a 2.6 narrow block, which would be an automatic. The wide ones are all manuals, or get that 2 litre from the red car at the Wreckers. There was something else I wanted to look at on that too, and I think, yeah, the rear muffler, because I got a quote for rear muffler, something like $300. I don't want to pay that unless I make my own. I'm thinking about doing that, but I already cut the other one, so I don't know what we're going to do there. Ordered and got hold of a bunch of headlights, and that's the high beam ones. I've got those. Alex from Seville Auto Electrics handed these to me, and they're the little plugs, free of charge, so I can just cut that off, wire them in. Cut it off there, cut those off and wire them in, so that's cool. And I'm about to send a whole lot of stuff off for powder coating. and that includes the XC spare wheel, the spare wheel cover, and the bumper mounts for the rear on the Ford as well. What else is there? You know what? I always forget stuff. I've taken all the badges off. That's the Mitsubishi badge from the boot. They're all going back on. This one, I don't know what it's from. I think I mentioned it later in the video. This has been shot over a week, sort of a little bit after work every day and just when I've had time. I don't want to put them back on like that. If you've got the original one, or if you know where I can get an original one in that font that I can use, I'd like that. Because I don't know what that's off. It might be a GN or an English one, because they call our Magnus things over there. I don't know. The other thing is the straw pole, and more people favoured the dark colour than the light one. And quite a few, well not quite a few people got back to me and said, you know what, I prefer the light one to the dark one. And I had the same idea too. I actually preferred the paler colour, the original medium blue. Now, I've shot some on the sills, and when you put down a couple of coats, that actually pulls right down. It's not as light as it looks. So I'm going with the light colour. It does look dark anyway on the car. And I do have to get another litre of the light blue metallic mixed, because I'm going to run out. So, with that all said and done, I hope you enjoy.
The Sigma Chrysler, Australia's sales success story, reached a production milestone today. Stephen Measday attended a special ceremony at Chrysler's Tonsley Park plant in Adelaide.
Optimism and smiles of Chrysler management and workers were reflected in the shiny 100,000 Sigma with all optional extras as it rolled off the production line today. The Sigma has been a major factor in Chrysler's revival as a profitable enterprise, and as the market trend towards smaller, fuel-efficient cars gathers momentum, Chrysler is now firmly established as Australia's top four-cylinder car manufacturer. The Mitsubishi-designed Sigma made its Australian debut in October 1977. It took Chrysler 18 months to make the first 50,000 Sigmas and just over a year to notch up the next 50,000 in the series. Chrysler is particularly pleased that for the first time its four-cylinder models are putting up serious opposition to the traditional 6- and 8-cylinder family car market, largely due to its fuel economy and price. Evidence of Chrysler's success is shown by the fact that other manufacturers will be entering the four-cylinder market in the next 6 months, with a new Cortina, a Mazda and a four-cylinder Commodore competing in this field. With Chrysler now making 180 Sigmas a day, the market is still far from reaching its limit.
Right, wonderful man Thomas McMillan has contacted me with this tack dash. This is an early one. This is a GE Sigma type, and it's got the solid type circuit board, not the flex drive one on the back. Now I've checked all these pinouts on these two. That's A through F, 1 through 12, and they're exactly the same as the GH, so that's cool to work. There was a couple of things with this. It's been messed with. Someone glued the, what's that called? Clock knob on. I can tidy that up with a bit of black paint, and I polished the lens. It's the greeny colour that the GHs use as well on the tack dashes, and it's got a bit of glue down there. I like this for a couple of reasons. It's got the rounded instruments. It's got a tack, and it's also got a clock, and the clock's small. It doesn't dominate the whole dash. Now, someone's messed with this. The speedo needle's been burned. Can I get it over the shadow? You can see that. I've heated it up with a soldering iron, straightened it, and me and all my wisdom broke the taco needle when I was cleaning it, which is reasonably bad, and here it is here. So Harvey, if you see this, and you have a stash of needles that'll fit this, I kind of need two. So I'm going to try and cut that off and stick it in for now, and it should look alright provided I don't break that, and I'm tipping it's going to break because I've got on a bit of paper and glued it, so I'm just going to shave that paper off with a new blade and see how we go. Well, I can certainly see this going up the spout. I'm trying to cut it down. Maybe if I cut it on the bench, I'll dock the top off. I cannot see this being successful. I'm going to have to get some other needles. And I've glued it with a 2-part epoxy. It's just so easy to break. It was very brittle. But yeah, I'm not holding my breath with this. Rightio, so we're not going to connect this up just yet because it's much easier to get to the top of the heater box when we sort out all the cables and whatnot. I'm just going to stick it in without connecting it just to see what it looks like. And we know it is going to fit because it's basically the same as the model it's supposed to come from. So we'll just put that up there and whack a few screws in. And it's another thing, just given how easily I broke the tack needle, it's just one of those things that it's safer here than it is sitting on a bench or on the bonnet of the XW. But I like it. I like this layout better than the original one. There's a few things I really like. The fact it's got a tack is the best part. I love a tack in a small engine car, a 4-cylinder car. Not so important in the big V8s because they don't work as hard. I tend to drive the smaller 4s a bit harder than I do the bigger ones. In saying that though, there's one in the Falcon, there's one in the XD, the XC, there's one in the Commodore. The XW I didn't do it with because I didn't want to mock it as a GT and I wanted it to look like an old man, like spec car, but it's a 351, so the way I drive those is very sedately because they can pull up a hill like that and not be working hard. But the rest of the cars I prefer, even the Starlet, I've got a tack in that, and they're really hard to get for those cars. And yeah, this one as well. So anyway, I like the fact it's got a tacho. I like the fact it's got an analog clock instead of a digital one. It's over this side and it's small. Some of the instruments didn't work on the other one. And I also like that the instruments are rounded. I think it looks much better. But having said that, it doesn't look right in here compared to a GH1. And later on down the track, if a GH1 comes around, or comes up, I'll grab it. But otherwise, I'm quite happy with this. It's looking the part. This thing's absolutely stuffed. It looks like black overspray, but it's actually sunburn where it's taken the paint off. It's a bit dodgy there. I think the reason for that is... No, it's not. I thought it was a screw being put in. This side here, the clip's all broken, and so are the posts. So I'm not going to bother trying to fix that. I'm just going to call... There's a guy in Adelaide that sells bits, and hopefully I can score one pretty cheap. Easier than fixing that, though. Hopefully he's got the right colour. So we'll just chuck that on for now. Two of the clips are alright. It's this one over this side that's had it. So ultimately it'll look a bit like that. Let me show you. So I'm absolutely wrapped with that. Can I get closer? The other thing I like about it is the odometer. The mileage is about 200,000 less than what the other one showed because it had an extra digit. Now we need to write on this, or in the records, what the original mileage was, and also keep the other cluster because it has to go with the car. But even though the needles are busted, I can see them, but it'll do for now. So Thomas, thank you very much indeed for that. That's absolutely wonderful. More tea and more on the little Siggy. You can see I've painted up to just below where that dark colour is. Feather that out so I can keep that blue and paint right up to that top of that stripe. I've been going around sort of marking where there's imperfections. We're going to make sure that's graphite. We're going to make sure it's all off. I'll continue to lift that. I haven't taken that off properly yet. There's a few bits and pieces. Look, I couldn't avoid painting those two doors. I just couldn't. This one had nicks all over it. Had that big chunk of primered rot there. I don't know what that was. There was rust here on the back door, so I had to take that off. I cleared the blue, or I missed the blue doing that, so that wasn't a big deal. We had a series of dents all along here. There's about 3 or 4 of them. Great big one there. You can see there's a little imperfection in the fill. I could get behind there with a pole. There's no access. Oh, I can't open the door. There's no access behind there, but I managed to take a broom handle in and just sort of massage it out and just filled the rest. There's little bits and pieces like that. I can rub that out. The problem is this. Oh, and the roof as well. The problem is, I'm never going to match that. The guards are the same. I'm still working on those. There's a nick there where I put the patch in. I didn't see that, so I've got to fix that. A little bit of funny stuff around with the fillies. And the other guard's the same. Up here, I had to redo this, which means probably painting the scuttle again, I don't know. And there was a little bit of crap there, and I missed a bit in here, so I've got to do that again. Yeah, So I'm in a pickle because all of the bottom colour is going to be fine. It's just going to go right around the car. I'm using the lighter colour. I had votes. There was a majority on the dark one, then quite a few texts back, or sorry, sent messages back saying they actually changed their mind. Does that get out of focus? Yeah, to say that actually changed their mind and preferred the lighter colour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the lighter colour, the original one, and I'm going to have a dark blue stripe. That's how I'm going to do it. And I'm just going to tape that in. I'm not going to bother painting it in yet. I just want to get this thing finished. Paint on the rear quarter's alright. It's daggy, but it's okay. You can see scratches and stuff in it. I should probably just paint the whole side and blend it up the C-pillar, but I've really almost run out of paint. The boot lid will buff out alright, I'm not worried about that. And this side's all good. That side's fine. You know, things like this, but let's face it, who cares? But the bottom, again, there were bits and pieces I wanted to sort of fill and fix up. You can see roughly where I haven't done a great job with the side moulding was, but that'll get covered up once I put that back on. And the engine bay you know about. And I've committed a stupid thing. I took them back. I was going to paint them, and you know what? I thought the engine sandwich plate, I didn't want to paint that. I wanted it plated. So I just did them at the same time. Really stupid, but what do you do? So what do you do with this? You know, the guards, this is a bit of hair. The guards, I might just reprime the whole thing, had tiger yellow popping out of them. They had scratches and nicks. I scratched or did some damage when I had them in the trailer. But I'm just not going to get away with it, doing it the way I wanted to do it. It just means later on this year, when the Plymmy goes off to Jason's, we'll get him in, and I'll be able to do all the top half, and the top half's going to be easy. But for now, I'm just doing it like this. It's going to look shocking. I was going to say something else, but I can't do anything about it. I'm just not tooled up to do anything about that at the moment. One thing I noticed is where the mirror was mounted on the driver's door, it's faded and looks pretty gnarly, I guess, but I can just satin black that. It was held in with these massive slotted screws, which is no good. I hate that look. So I'm going to remount that. Yeah, let's have a look at some other stuff. Right, badges. Here are our badges. That's a Minter. That's a really good one. That can go back on. That can go back on. It's hard getting those GL ones. Normally they're chrome, because they're the same, I think, as these on Pajeros or something, and that's, of course, the boot lid one as well. I redid the back of the boot lid, just along that bit there, because it was all gouged, and the paint was awful. So I've redone that. So I'll put these on. And there was this one which is wrong. I don't know if that's GK or GN. I don't know what that is. It might be off an English one. They call our Magnas Sigmas over there. Not putting that back. I want to get the one with the right font, which is a sort of a low slung, a different font to that, if you see what I mean. These are in good nick. They can go back on, or maybe leave them off. The 2.6 one's looking much better. They're much nicer, but it's not a 2.6. Although once we turbocharge it, we can just call it a standard 2.6. So I'm not putting turbo badges on. But there's that as well. So in a nutshell, those three top ones are going back on. That's not sure about those. And we've got our lower control arm bushes. These are these blue, what are they called? I can't remember what they're called. They're the really tough ones, not the rubber ones. There are three types of lower control arm bush. These are sort of narrow on that side and wider at the other, or maybe Vicky Verka, whatever. So they can go on, and once the cross member's been painted, I can stick the lower arms back in. I'm just having a bit of trouble finding strut bearings for it. I reckon it's probably alright to do blocking back and stuff out here. I'm not worried about that, but for any of the paint stuff, it has to go in the garage. The issue I've had in moving it around is that cross member, the jack, nearly, let me just pull it out and show you. It nearly came off at the very edge, on one of those little high spots. And I was kind of trying to hold the front end up and move the jack out with my foot because I was sort of alone. So if this drops now, with the drag link and the idler and the pitman and all that sort of stuff on, that's going to be a really, really bad day, even though the weather's beautiful. So what I'm going to do, I've given the cross member a clean up and a paint job with a rattle can. I'm going to put that back in, put the front suspension back into the wheels on, just so I can move it around on its own wheels, and that'll also let me jack the back up and swivel it around, if you know what I mean, when I go and stick it in there. So I need to be able to get around both sides, like that side there, and Got to block it all back still, but it's all looking fairly okay. There's the sill colour down there, which is a lot darker than I thought it would be. But that's the original colour, the medium blue metallic. So I've done the sills, got to do the doors, rub at that line there so you can't see it. I haven't gone right up to the edge with the primer, I've just gone to there, so I'll rub that ledge out so you can't feel it. This time I'm going to paint, but I'm probably going to have to blend into this door and blend into that rear quarter there. So I've got another litre of this colour match paint. So we'll just see how we go. Right, so I've got the arms, I've got to put those on too. New ball joint obviously, and these types of bushes. Now I'm not a fan of those. They're the urethane type, I think you call them. These ones are sort of staggered. They're fat on one side and thin on the other. There's 3 different types of these. These are fitted by keeping or retaining the original shell, if you like, from the original bush. Now these are vulcanized, which is a pain, or at least these ones don't look like they were done too well, if at all, but they punched out really easily, which means they went in super easy. Never used any bushes like this. On the Fords I used the original OEM type ones and just punched the whole thing out. With this one, of course, I had to leave that in. The vulcanizing between the inner center bit and the rubber has been fine. It actually doesn't look like it's been adhered in there. Or, yeah, I don't know. But that came out super easy. So either it's knackered or it's designed like that, I'm not really sure. But I like the OEM stuff. But these cars on the Ford, you see, there's plenty of OEM support for them. Or OE kind of support for them, if you know what I mean. These is not. That's what the part suppliers are supplying. And that's all you can get. So that's what we're going with. Which on this car's fine. I'm not too perturbed by that. But if it was a resto, I certainly wouldn't want to use those. Which is disappointing, is I've absolutely knackered the 350's tank. Let me just get a... And it's... You'll see... On here somewhere, the metallic's all buggered. Because I had... Oh, there it is. Hang on. Is it easier without that? Maybe if I pull light back, you'll see the metallic's damaged. I've made a mess of it. And particularly in there. Can you see in there? In that corner there? That's super disappointing. The only way I can get around this is just redo it. I can't do much about that. I can't fix it. And you know what? If it was a friend's bike or something like that, I would redo it straight away. You can see the metallic there, it's not very good. I wrecked it, and the reason is I think I used too big a nozzle, too much product went on. With the acrylic, that's done in acrylic, the side cover, and it's peachy. That's done with the 2-pack ISO and ISO free, and it's not. But it'll do for now. I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to repaint it yet. I'm going to leave it. So you know, that's what we're stuck with for now. But that's the reason you should never ever rush a job. And I rushed this. I super rushed it. I didn't get the stripes very well. That's all done with tape to save money. The original ones were like $100, and I just taped that out. So not a great job. Well, now I've bagged them. I'm absolutely loving how they fit. There's no movement whatsoever. Can we see in there? I think there's too much of a silhouetting sort of effect. There they are there. I've got so much to do. I've got to go and take the, or put all the front end stuff back in, because I nearly dropped the car off the cross member with the jack. And if I drop that, it's going to smash the idler, smash the steering box, it's going to do all sorts of problems, particularly when I start fitting guards up, it can damage all that. So I'm not taking the risk. I'm putting all the old struts and tie rods in and all that sort of stuff. And that way I can just stick it on its wheels and move it around. But it's taken me a little while. We've got a beautiful day today and a good one tomorrow. So I want to get all the paint finished. Aside from the clear, I'm going to try and get that done next weekend. So I haven't got time to talk, just got to get back into it. Kind of old mixed with new here. You can see those lovely bushes up the top there. Old steering arms on there, what do you call them, tie rods, old hubs, old discs, old strut. Just to steer the thing around. As I said before, I'm not going to risk it. I'm over here, so I feel pretty good about that. That all looks alright. That looks absolutely terrible over there and there, but they've got to be powder coat. They can come off again once I've painted it, and these aren't. They're only just finger tight. The red Sigma at the wreckers, I wanted to get the caster rod bolts. 2 of them are good on the other side. These 2, they've got little Starley bolts in there for now just to hold it. The bolts that came out, one was the wrong one and the other one was damaged. So I want to get that and the dash hood and a few other things, the engine and everything out of it, but it's been to the crusher. So there's no more parts coming off that. Well, I've got a lot of colour on. It's pretty... Can you see it? It's fairly spangly. Obviously it hasn't got clear on it yet. The camera doesn't pick it up though. It doesn't look that much different to what it did before. A little bit of light right back here. You can't see it. It's not coming up as well as I thought. So I've got all that done. We're running out of room. They've got the guard. So tomorrow I've got to tape off that and then do the top part. And it's, you know, looking alright. I'll keep this blue on this side and I can buff that and just clear the bottom. I've got a paint in here and then buff the top. And once that's cleared, the bumper can go on. I've done a shocking job with some of those stripes, I tell you what. The original ones weren't straight. And so I did it straight and then missed a whole lot. Well, missed a bit anyway. So, there she is. And tomorrow, because we've got beautiful weather this weekend, I've got to get that top colour painted. I'm going to try and blend it in there. And hopefully it looks really good. Well, what do you think? Milsom's did the colour match. I haven't yet. There's a slight shift in colour. You can see it from the other side, from here into the door. I'm going to clear that first. I've missed out a bunch of repairs there. I might have to do that again. Whatever the case, once it's cleared, I'll be able to see, and I might just have to flick into that door, scuff it up, flick it in, and just clear the top of that door. Looks not too bad. As I said, Milsom's did the colour match. So that's it. The bottom colour is darker than I thought. Once I put a few coats on, it really pulled down. It's a bit of a waste really, because it's got a really nice metallic in it, which you probably can't see too well. The sunshine's not on it, but that would be better if it was the top colour. And you can see those clips. I've been very dodgy and left those two clips there because I couldn't get them out. I didn't want to damage them. Rag sitting over the power steering because when I turned it, it vomited everywhere. Oil went everywhere, but it didn't go on the important bits, which is good. These two doors are painted. The rear guard isn't. And you can see the shift there. You can see it plain as day in there. It shows up more on the camera than it does in person. But yeah, again, I'm going to have to flick into the corner. But I'm going to wait till it's cleared up first. And I'm very happy with it. Very happy. Not too bad at all. In the roof, you can see, you probably can't see, I've blended it into the roof. You can see the remains of it there where it's a bit cloudy in that area there. And of course there I've got to rub that out there. But, that's all not too bad. The car itself I'm not unhappy with. Whoops. I've redone the back of the boot lid along here. So what this means now is I can clear all that. And once that's all done, I can refit the bumper and the side mouldings. Pinstripe, I didn't paint it in. I actually couldn't be bothered, which sounds bad, but originally I got a dark blue one for it, and I've changed my mind. I don't know what to do. The car we had was white and it had a red, a black and red one that went over the wheel arch, sort of along here and over the front wheel arch. It was a GLX. Where this one, red might look funny on it, but I just wanted to get away from blue silver because it's blue on blue. Everything's blue on it. So I thought about sticking either a dark blue one or red or just some sort of highlight strip along there. Not really sure what to do. Throw me a comment. But most of it on the, what do you call it? What's it called? Straw pole. Most people suggested the darker colour. And a couple got back and said they'd changed their minds, and I had changed mine as well. That is actually a lot darker than I thought it would be. In the sun it looks totally different though. Right, so what I think we'll do, I've got my engine crane here, and I've got an engine there. I think we might stick that up on the crane. We'll give it some more cleaning and start fabbing out that power steering bracket. But for now, I think that's enough, and I'm quite happy with it. not much effort's gone into this. I've done it very quickly, hence the mistakes in it, particularly that one at the top of the guard, which I'm looking at now and I don't like at all. But that's the deal. What do you do? Right, we've moved our little mini bike out the way. We've got the stand, we've got to start picking you up. Get ready to do some work on you, huh? Right. Whoops. Hang on, I need to grab something at the back. What do we need to get? This will do. These that way, anything these. They're lovely and small and light. And oily. Oh, go away. There's a spider that's made a home on there. Come on, up you go. Where have you gone? Oh, I think I killed him? I don't know. Anyway. That will do. Oh well, I've got a paint repair on the left-hand front yard of the car, but I'm going to really let it go off before I do that. These are good, this stangs that fits over those gearbox spigots there. So I'm just going, I think the last thing on this was the Windsor in the XW. I used a different one for the Cleveland. So after I've put this up on the stand, I'm going to do anything with it. I do need to get the XC's boot lid looked at. I need to weld a patch into it, get it in deoxide and etch it. That's what I want to do today. See, that's a bit over. Not by design, that's what you call sheer ass. So this little Sigma so far has been such an easy little car because I haven't put this nearly the same effort as I did on the Ford into the Mitzi. It's a value thing, and also it was supposed to be it was supposed to be fun, and that's what it's ended up being. You know, it's a nothing job. It's a biggish job. You know, it's bigger than I thought it'd be, but nothing we can't handle. Zap these up and we're good. Cheap. It was on eBay. It was like $299 about 10 years ago, and I was dubious about it because at the time I had a. Hang on a sec. At the time I had a big block Ford engine, and I was worried it wouldn't hold it. Well, it did. I had a 429 sitting on it for a while while I rebuilt it. So it should be. Should be good for a little Mitzi engine. I'll just loosen them and I'll position this as best I can. It's been a cracker, this thing. It was only cheap, but gee, I've used it. Almost worn it down. Cool. One thing you should never do is pick an engine up with a rope. Ropes can cut where a chain won't, so a chain's always better. I can't find mine though. I think my brother might have it. If it starts bouncing with the rhythm of the thing, stop and then bounce on the off rebound if you like, and it'll be much more steady. This isn't so bad. When you're lifting something like a V8, you do find that they do bounce because they're a lot heavier. Castrol bearing oil. This is what Burson's carry now. I don't know how to pronounce that. Is it fuchsia or something? I call it something else. I'm just going to stick a bit of oil around the spigot here. I've left this loose so I can sort of wiggle it forward, just to give me a bit of swivelling room. Come on, you little bitch, get in. Did that go any further? Not enough. Probably hung up on this. That felt like it went in. Beautiful. There's my pin. Oh, good. Alright. Nice and safe. Oh, good. Now I can drain the oil. And we can wheel him around and sort of start cleaning up a bit more. So tempting. I'll tell you what, it is so tempting to pull the pan off. Here's the dilemma, right? You pull that off, you're going to find stuff. The timing chain is noisy. Balance shaft chain is probably right. Yet if I take the timing cover off, I'm up for a sump gasket, which means I'm going to be looking at bearings, because that's what I'll do. And it'll do the head gasket. Take the head off, the sumps off, you're doing rings, you know what I mean? I don't want to do it. I don't want to borrow that. It was a sweet little runner. I just want to clean him up, throw it straight back in the car. That's what I want to do. But I can't clean underneath it while it's on the ground. So I'll paint up to there. I won't paint the sump. That'll clean up alright. We'll just leave it at satin finish. We'll just paint the block. We'll have to paint the Welshies too on the other side, the new brass ones. I don't normally paint those, but you can't have this side painted and that side not. I'm not going to mask off Welsh plugs. So we'll just clean him up and put him back. Right, there we go. It's getting dark now, so you can't really see the blue, but no more dodgy primer, no more dents. Well, there are on the rear quarter, but I didn't do anything about those. Stuck the bonnet on for now, which is really grotty, but it just means I can put the cover on without sort of straddling brooms and stuff across it to stop it from sinking when it rains. But I'm pretty happy with that. It all looks pretty good. So, on that note, hope you enjoyed this. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you around.